2025 NBA Draft has officially concluded. 59 picks were made, and we're here to break it down and give draft grades for all 30 NBA teams. I am Nic Rohloff. This is NBA Now by Chat Sports. If you did not subscribe and join us for our live coverage of the draft, make sure you do join us now because our NBA coverage is not slowing down. NBA free agency begins on Monday afternoon. We will be live on the channel to recap all of that action and react live to it all, as well as videos from now until that Monday afternoon with the latest in the NBA. So subscribe and join the channel if you want to be covered on anything and everything in the association. First team we're going to start with, alphabetical-wise, is the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to give them an A- grade. So they traded for Kristaps Porzingis, right? Then they traded back from 13 to 23, picked up an unprotected first-round pick from the Pelicans in 2026, which could become very valuable, but still got a guy that we knew they liked in Asa Newell with that 23rd overall spot. He's going to be able to come in and be a third big in rotation to Onyeka Okongwu and Kristaps Porzingis. Really like that move by the Hawks. The Celtics give them a B-. I did not like their pick at the end of round one with Hugo Gonzalez. Thought there was other players on the board that were better, but then they followed it up with a couple good selections in round two. One of my favorites, Amari Williams. I had him as my 37th overall player in the class. They got him at 46th, an elite rim protector and rebounder. Three-time Defensive Player of the Year in college for his respective conference, by the way. And then they grabbed the A10 Player of the Year in Max Shulga. They got some pretty good college veteran players in the second round to pair up with a high upside wing from Spain. The Brooklyn Nets get a C+. They made 5 picks in the first round. I did not like many of them. Actually, that's not true. I like the picks. I just don't know what the plan is. I like Igor Demen. I like Nolan Traore. I like Drake Powell. Hell, I even like Ben Seraph. But did you really need to take 3 point guards in the first round? Probably not. I did like the 27th pick in Danny Wolf. The big man is so versatile. He can handle it. He can finish it. He can space the floor. I like the way he is going to just immediately impact that Nets team. Just not the biggest fan of taking 3 point guards in the first 5 picks. I don't understand it. Charlotte Hornets killed the draft, in my opinion. I love what they brought to the table. They took Knueppel at 4, Liam McNeely at 29, Sion James at 33, and Ryan Kalkbrenner at 34. They traded Mark Williams, so they needed to get a replacement big for that roster. They did it in Kalkbrenner, who I thought could have been drafted in the first round. They were the worst three-point shooting team on the perimeter last year. They effectively addressed that with Knueppel, McNeely, and James. McNeil and James can defend, so can Knueppel. This is a massive overhaul to a roster that needed it. Great complementary pieces to Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball. Chicago Bulls, we have a B-. They took Noah Senge at 12. Then they took Lachlan Olbrich at 55. Olbrich really doesn't change anything for me. I gave them a B- on the Senge pick. This is either going to go extremely well for Chicago, or it's going to go really, really bad. There's no in between, but for a team in Chicago that's stuck in the middle of mediocrity, I think you need to take big swings. So I can get why they went with a Senge, and that's why I give it a B-. The Cavaliers made 1 pick. They get an A. That 1 pick came in the second round, but they got Tyrese Proctor, a player that I thought they could have maybe seen go in the first round of the draft. Excuse me, by the way, they had a second selection at the end of the second round. Not moved by it. Saleo Niang. Sorry. Maybe I'm proven wrong on that. Doubt I am. But I really like Proctor. He's my 27th overall player, and it was announced as the Cavs selected him that he got a multi-year contract in the NBA. What does that tell me? There might have been a little bit of a wink-wink deal underneath the table for Proctor to come to Cleveland. Sam Merrill and Ty Jerome might be seeing you in free agency. Proctor is going to come off the bench and fill a void that's desperately needed. Shout out your favorite team and grade their draft grade in your opinion. I'm giving your team a grade today. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So go down, shout it out, and then grade your team down in the comment section. Moving over to the Dallas Mavericks here. They didn't make a pick in the second round, but they made the most important selection of the draft, and that is Cooper Flagg with that first overall pick. I know they lucked into it, but it's an A+. There's just no way you can say anything other than A+ for getting Cooper Flagg to your team. Denver Nuggets didn't make a single pick. We move on. Detroit Pistons, C+. They made one pick here in the second round, and it was Chaz Lanier at 37, the wing from Tennessee. I actually like Chaz. Good wingspan to height ratio, good shooter for Barnes and company at Tennessee after 4 years at North Florida. I thought there was better shooters on the board and better overall players, which is why I give it a C+ grade. I'll give the Golden State Warriors a C+ grade as well. Did not make a pick in the first round, but made two late in the 50s of the second round. Alex Tui, the Australian wing, and then Will Richard, the wing from Florida. I really like the Richard pick. I think he is someone that can learn underneath Jimmy Butler potentially if he's able to make that roster. Coming out of Summer League and training camp, I am a little bit lower on Tui, but C+. I don't mind the shot on these two in the 50s. Rockets didn't make a pick. That's going to be an NA for me. And before we get into some more grades here, make sure you grab your favorite team's top rookie jersey. Go to chatsports.com/NBA jersey. That link is in the description and comments of today's video. They have every rookie's jersey you could possibly imagine. And if the jersey numbers are 00, that's because a number has not been finalized yet, like Edgecombe, like Knueppel. Those are some of the top prospects that got taken early. They will have your favorite team's rookies, so go grab your jerseys today. Indiana Pacers get an A- in my book. Liked what Indiana did here. First of all, they bounced around in the draft before the draft actually started, and then they made a great pick in the second round, Cam Jones, the guard from Marquette. And with Tyrese Halliburton out for the year with a torn Achilles, Andrew Nembhard is going to have to be thrusted into that role of starting point guard. Well, then they need a combo guard to help kind of take that role over. Cam Jones can do that. One of the most experienced and productive players at the college level last year, defends, gets to the rim, fills up the stat sheet, play makes, whole package. Cam Jones will have a role in that Rick Carlisle scheme. Love that pick. Taylor Peters a non-mover, but I like the Jones pick so much, I'm going to give it an A- at 38. Clippers get a B+ for me, and this is quite the difference from the round 1 grade. If you watched last night's video, I gave the pick of Yannick Niederhauser a D+. I wasn't a fan. There was just better options on the board, in my opinion, but them getting Kobe Sanders at pick 50 completely bounced it up. Sanders was my 43rd overall player in the draft. He's a 6'7" point guard who ranked in the 90+ percentile in pick and roll ball handling, shot 52% in that play type as well, gets to the free throw line. Reminds me so much of Sean Livingston. That is a pick right there that could pay massive dividends, for the Clippers in the long term. The Lakers get an A-. They made no picks in the first round, but they made two different trades to move up in the second round to ultimately get the athletic wing from Arkansas in Adou Thiero, who is 22 on my big board. I thought he should have been taken in the first round. He's got a 7-foot wingspan. He is the most athletic player in this draft, and I could just see him being a menace defensively in transition and catching lobs from Luka Doncic this upcoming year. Wonder what this means for a player like Dorian Finney-Smith and Rui Hachimura. Also have to take in the fact Jared Vanderbilt. If the Air is able to develop a jumper, this could be a steal of the draft. The Grizzlies get a B. They traded up to go grab Cedric Coward, which I really liked that move, but then made two other picks in the second round. Jemai Mashack, the final pick of the draft, and then Javon Small, the guard from West Virginia. I actually like the first two picks, that is. Coward is going to be a day one contributor. Really good defensive wing there that can get to the mid-range, takes advantage of mismatches. And then Small, averaged 19 a game at West Virginia. He had a really high usage rate, but really good assist-to-turnover ratio and a really high assist percentage as well. I think the Memphis Grizzlies knocked this draft out of the park, and you factor the fact that they also have a lot of draft capital going forward. After that trade with Desmond Bane, Memphis heading in the right direction. Miami Heat get an A+. They didn't make a pick on the second round, but they made the biggest steal of the draft in round 1, taking Kasparas Jakubonis at pick number 20. I gave Jakubonis a 6th spot on my big board, 6th overall player. Third point guard. Miami desperately needed a true point guard that can play make for Bam and Ware in the pick and roll, and a backcourt partner for Tyler Thiero. I think they found that long-term guy in Jakubonis here, who slipped I don't know why, but he slipped to 20. Heat fans are fired up, and they absolutely should be. I would argue they are the biggest winners because they got my best value in the entire draft. Biggest winner from the NBA draft in your opinion? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section. Milwaukee Bucks get a C-plus grade in my book here. They took Markovic, the Serbian big man, and I'll tell you what, this could end up paying dividends for Markovic, but I am a little bit unsure if he's ever going to see the light of day. Reminds me of Pokusevski, who was drafted from Serbia, 5 years now? Man, it was a while ago. Either way, the Serbian wing could find a role. He's a high upside guy. A lot of people like him. I was a little bit lower. Have him in the 50s. Give it a C+, though. Can't hate on a mid to late second round pick. Minnesota Timberwolves get a D-, in my opinion. I did not like the pick of Johan Berenjay at 17, and then they go with another kind of high upside big man in Rocco Zakarski. Berenjay, can't get sold on him, man. So rich for my liking. Would have liked to see them go with an Asa Newell or Danny Wolf if they were going center. Just two project centers don't make a lot of sense to me. Pelicans, give them an A-. I love what they did in the first round. Jeremiah Fears at 7, home run pick, and then Derek Queen at 13 from Maryland. I know a lot of people are going to be a little bit critical of them trading an unprotected 2026 first to move up to get Queen. I think it will be worth it as long as they don't get a top 3 pick and send Atlanta one of Darren Peterson, AJ DeBasta, or Boozer. And I don't hate Micah Peavy as well in the second round. Good athletic wing, improved his three-point shot, gets downhill, good active hands defensively. I think the Pelicans did a really good job. The only knock on their draft is the fact that they traded that unprotected 2026 first. The Knicks only made 1 pick, but I'm going to give it a D+. They take Mohamed Diarra, the wing from Cholet here. And the reason why I don't like it is because they could have drafted Kobe Sanders, who would have been a really good fit for them. And I know my guy Marshall Green over at Knicks Now desperately wanted him here at the pick. They ultimately passed and traded the pick to the Clippers, who then took him at 51 or 50. So I don't know why they did that. They should have just stood put and taken Kobe Sanders themselves. The OKC Thunder get an A- in my opinion. I loved Thomas Sorber. The second round pick doesn't really mean much to me, even though I don't like it. Brooks Barnhizer, there were better players on the board in my book, but Sorber is just a perfect fit for them. I love this selection. He is got a 7'6" wingspan, 6'10" in height. He protects the rim, fleet of foot, can really move laterally, and good footwork inside. He is going to just be so good in the future. We're going to look back at this and be like, man, Sam Presti did it again. Orlando Magic, I give them an A-. They made 2 picks, and I can't complain. Jace Richardson was my 20th overall player. He is the perfect pick for Orlando at 25. Like, it was either him or Walter Clayton Jr. as the 2 best fits for them at that spot. They get one of their guys. And then they trade up in the second round with the Celtics take Noah Penda, who I had as a first-round prospect. He's going to develop a little bit. The fit is questionable there because Penda doesn't really have on-ball presence or an ability to shoot the ball consistently at this point, but he's just so good offensively, or excuse me, defensively, I should say, and then also so active on the offensive glass that he will find a way to get in the rotation early, and if he develops a jumper, it could be a really dangerous kind of spot for him. The Philadelphia 76ers get a B-. I like the pick of VJ Edgecombe at 3. I thought they made the right decision. I think he's going to fit and be really good there long term. But taking Janai Broom at 35 was a little bit of a head-scratcher for me. I thought they should have went with Maxime Reynal, the center from Stanford. They passed on him and went for Broom. I don't like that. Listen, Broom was my 3rd best center available entering round 2. So it's not the craziest thing. Kalkbrenner went the pick before, but I just don't love the pick because I do like Maxime Reynal much more than I like Broom, which is why I am not that big a fan. The Phoenix Suns get an A- in my book. They were active, man. They traded up like 3 times in the second round. They got Kaman Malawach at 10. They took Rasheer Fleming at 31, which was arguably the steal of the draft. And now I'm thinking about it. I think it is because on my big board, Jaka Jonas was 6. He went to Miami at 20, so that's a plus 14 value. I had Fleming at plus 17 because I had him as my 14th overall player. He went 31. So they got the steal of the draft in my book in Fleming. They traded up to get him. They get a sniper in Kobe Brea, who shot a ridiculous 43% at Kentucky from beyond the arc. And they were able to acquire Mark Williams by trading the 29th pick and a future first-round pick that's likely going to be in the 20s as well. So Phoenix, after getting a bad return for Kevin Durant in my book, nail the draft with Malawach, Fleming, and Brea, and also trading for Mark Williams. Portland Trailblazers, give it an F. I just don't like it. They traded back, sure, from 11 to 16, then went with Hanson Yang. Thought it's a bad pick. They didn't make a pick in the second round. Give him an F for round 1. I'll give him an F for round 2. They already said he's going to be in the G League this upcoming year, so he's not even going to really play for them. Out on Hanson Yang. And not as a player, I had him at 37 on my big board, but I just don't understand why Portland's taking him when they have Donovan Clingan and DeAndre Ayton on that roster. Sacramento Kings get an A for me. Love what they did here. They traded up a future first to get Nick Clifford at 24, and then let Maxime Reynau slide to them at 42. Is Reynau the best fit next to Sabonis? No, but you can run similar type of stuff when Sabonis goes to the bench, and Reynau is that playmaking hub. A lot of comps to Brook Lopez. He can space it. He's got really good size, and Clifford's just an all-around unbelievably good player. These two guys are going to be really, really solid for Sacramento. They're going to be a fun team to watch in Summer League. San Antonio Spurs get an A+ in my book. Couldn't be much more enlightened, I should say, with their first-round picks. Carter Bryant, Dylan Harper, just absolutely home runs. Dylan Harper, number 2 player in the draft. Carter Bryant, thought he was going to go either 9, 10, or 11. Slides to 14. Really good connective wing there that defends and can shoot the 3 ball off the catch. San Antonio, they're going to be so good in the next 2 or 3 years, man. Just going to be absolutely unfair. Toronto Raptors with a C+. Give them a grade. I didn't love Colin Murray-Boyles. I don't think the fit's good there. I like Colin Murray-Boyles is what he can bring to the table in terms of ability to play make in the half court and just be so valuable defensively. But I thought Elijah Martin was a pretty massive reach in the second round with so many other good players on the board. Not sure I like that pick there, but hey, we'll ultimately see. Utah Jazz got a C+, and their grade was bumped up by their 53rd selection. I did not like Ace Bailey. I had him 12th on my board. Walter Clayton Jr. I had a second-round grade, and he goes 18. And they just don't have a lot of good pieces that, like, gel together, man. Bailey and Clayton are 2 guys that had a high usage rate and a lot of ball dominance. Same thing could be said with Tanji, but Tanji at least shoots 50% of his shots from 3, and also has a plus 50% free throw rate. That prototypical wing and guard in the NBA. I could be a fan of that pick. Final grade here goes to the Washington Wizards. I give them a C+. I really like Trey Johnson. I'm a little bit out on Will Riley as a prospect. I don't like his wingspan to height ratio. Undersized a little bit there in terms of frame. He needs that a lot of weight. Not the best shooter, and I think he's going to get bumped off his spots really easily early in his career. And then Jameer Watkins. I had him as like a 57th, 58th player on the board, so I'm not the highest on him. But he is a really long and good athlete who can be a menace defensively. Trey Johnson's a good pick. The other 2, we'll see. All right, that's it. Full draft grades done here, folks, and we're going to play a game. Predict the future. Who will be the number 1 pick in the 2026 NBA draft? It is either between one of the Boozer twins, AJ Dembasta, or Darren Peterson. If I had to make my claim, we have this on the receipts, I'm going to go with Darren Peterson, the guard for Kansas. Let me know your thoughts down below, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video in the NBA world.